The Summer of a Beautiful White Horse. The background of the story is the Armenian massacre. In 1915, the Turkish government planned to expel and massacre about 2 million Armenians living in the Ottoman Empire. When the massacres and deportations finally ended, 1.5 million of Turkey's Armenians were dead and many forcibly removed. This event is called genocide, a premeditated and systematic campaign to exterminate an entire people. The story is narrated by 9-year-old Aram Garugalenian, a member of an Armenian community living among the lush fruit orchards and vineyards of California. One morning, Aram is awakened at 4 o'clock by his 13-year-old cousin Morad, who is thought to be demented by everyone except Aram and has a way with animals. Aram is astonished to see Morad sitting on a beautiful white horse. He has always wanted to ride a horse, but his family is too poor to afford one. In spite of being poor, the Garugalinian tribe is noted for its honesty and trust. It is unthinkable that Morad would have stolen the horse. Aram was invited to ride on the horse with Morad, and the idea of him stealing the horse drained away from Aram's mind. He felt that it wouldn't become stealing until they offered to sell the horse. Morad's crazy behavior was considered to be of natural descent from their uncle Khusro, even though his father Zorab was a practical man. The uncle was an enormous man who was always furious, impatient, and irritable. He would roar at everyone to stop talking and say, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." One day, when his son came and told him that their house was on fire, Khusro silenced him by roaring, "Enough, it is no harm." After a short time, Morad wanted to ride alone. Aram had the same longing too, but when he sat on the horse and kicked its muscles, it reared and snorted and raced forward, eventually dropping Aram off its back. After half an hour, they found the horse and hid it in the barn of a deserted vineyard a farmer fed for. That afternoon, an Assyrian farmer named John Byro, a friend of the Garugalinians, came to Aram's house. He reported to Aram's mother that his white horse, which had been stolen a month ago, was still missing. Hearing this, Aram concluded that Morad must have had the horse for a month. Khosrow, who was at Aram's house when Byro came, shouted his dialogue, "It's no harm," to such an extent that Byro was forced to leave to avoid responding. Aram ran to Morad to inform him of Byro's arrival. Aram also requested not to return the horse until he could learn to ride. Morad disagreed, saying that Aram would take at least a year to learn, but promised that he would keep it for 6 months at the most. This became a routine. Morad came to pick Aram up for a ride, and Aram continuously fell off the horse's back after every attempt. 2 weeks later, when they were going to take the horse back to its hiding place, they met Byro on the road. The farmer was extremely surprised. He said, "The horse is a twin of my horse," and a suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart, and knowing the Garugalinian tribe for its honesty, discarded his suspicion and left. This incident apparently struck the children's conscience and returned the horse, saving the fame of their tribe. Aram is the 9-year-old cousin of Morad. He is lovable, innocent, and easily influenced by Morad. He has always been conscientious of his tribe's reputation for honesty and integrity. He was extremely fascinated with horses since he was a child. Right from the time that he saw the horse, he knew in his heart that Morad had stolen it. His conscience protested, but he justified the action by claiming that it wasn't stealing unless Morad. He does not think about the consequences of this act. He envied the bond that his cousin shared with the horse and hoped to have the same connect with it someday. He found a way to keep the horse even after discovering that John Byro was the owner, but later agrees to return it, keeping in mind the family values and traditions. Since since we see the story unfold from a child's perspective, an innocence, honesty, and unbiased quality is added to the narration. Morad is considered to be crazy and a direct descendant of Uncle Khusro. He seemed to have a special way with animals and even with people. He is empathetic towards them and could make them feel calm and safe. He expresses the desire to enjoy life when he steals the beautiful white horse to ride. Due to his own spiritual essence, he was able to understand animals and could connect with them in a special way. An instance of his fond affection is when he put his arms around the horse, pressed his nose into its nose, and patted it. By riding a beautiful white horse, he is fulfilling a spiritual need and thus enjoying life to the fullest. He looked after the horse in such a manner that John Byro found it better tempered and healthier on its return. Morad is fascinated with horses and isn't beyond bending the rules to get what he wants. Perhaps he chooses not to tell Aram that he stole the horse to save his cousin from the trouble of telling lies. Morad is a free-spirited child of nature who follows his heart and enjoys being alive. He does have a conscience and hence chooses to return the horse when reminded of his family's honorable reputation. Uncle Khusro is a very homesick person who yearns to be back in his motherland. It is his experiences that have made him so bitter. He is a huge man with a large moustache and a volatile temper, seems similar to Morad in spirit. After leaving Armenia perforce, Khusro feels as if his true home and a part of his identity have been stripped away. This leads to a lack of belonging to the new land of Central Valley, California, where the Armenians have settled, and a sense of frustrated anger. Losing his home and his motherland is so terrible that losing anything else does not matter to him. He always feels that he is a foreigner in this land. Thus, he commonly observed to roar, "It is no matter, pay no attention to it." Nothing is quite as important to him anymore, and nothing quite as tragic or urgent. The white horse is a symbol of purity and courage. It is also an emblem of the innocence and the uncaptivated spirits of the boys. On one hand, it establishes Morad as the gifted child who can connect with animals, and on the other, it represents the dreams and passions that people hold in their hearts. The horse stands as the medium of fulfillment of those aspirations that are subdued in the grim reality of this materialistic world. Its progress from being a self-willed and hostile creature to being friendlier, happier, and healthier depicts the evolution of the boys' souls from being frivolous, irresponsible people to responsible Samaritans who care a lot about the honor and traditions of their family. The Garo-Galenian tribe is an Armenian tribe which has a reputation for honesty that has been maintained for centuries. Despite being extremely poverty stricken, they never resort to unfair means to get money. The members of the tribe value their pride, their integrity, and their beliefs in right and wrong. For 11 centuries, their name has been synonymous with honesty. It is this reputation that leads John Byron to believe that the horse he was seeing must be a twin of his own horse. They admit that they have no money at all and get mystified over the way in which they are able to arrange for food for themselves. In fact, they have accepted their being poor to such an extent that they are able to laugh over it, crack jokes about it, and they term it as comical poverty. Their response to material possessions is that they are valueless without the enjoyment of life. So one might as well keep calm and continue enjoying life. Their unique perspective of the world serves to develop the theme concerning the perception of right and wrong. Like Aram's cousin Morad, they too enjoy being alive. Murad perfectly exemplifies the crazy streak in his family, and that explains his extraordinary behavior with regard to the stolen horse. He follows his heart all the time, sings songs, even if his singing sounds like a roar, steals a horse, and cares about animals. A man can genetically descend from his father and still deviate from his paternal heritage in terms of spirit. Effectively, he feels that Morad is the natural descendant of the bad-tempered and mercurial Uncle Khusro, even though he is the genetic son of Zorab, a very practical man. Aram is ambivalent about Morad's rationalizations about the stolen horse, but he does admire Morad's daredevil sense of adventure. While Aram's own sense of decorum would never have allowed him to steal, he appreciates the opportunity accorded to him by Morad's crazy streak to ride the magnificent horse for some time. One of the themes is the idea of redemption through actions. There is little doubt that Aram and Morad did wrong by taking the horse. However, a compelling element is that John Byron does not seek vengeance or extreme retribution for their actions. He knows that the boys understand they should be accountable for their actions. In fact, the taking of the horse results in its being better trained and also in greater conditioning. The redemptive powers of forgiveness, understanding, honor, and community are themes that are enhanced through the short story. The story conveys the message that despite social and economic challenges, some truths are absolute and should be practiced under all circumstances. Their poverty does not limit the emotional quotient of the boys. Their love for the horse is sincere and authentic, not motivated by greed. They have a genuine understanding of the need to return that which does not belong to them. They exhibit an exalted human reaction of wanting to correct that which is wrong. Justify the title. The title seems quite appropriate as the story is probably set in a summer-like time period. The boys can focus on the horse and not necessarily burdened with work. The ideas presented lend themselves with the fruition and full bloom of summer. They relate to maturation, experiences, and collegiality. The story revolves around the beautiful white horse. The boys are poor, hence it is inconceivable that either of them could own a white horse. The fact that Aram is awakened one morning by Morad sitting atop a white horse prompts Aram to question if it was stolen. From abject or dirt poverty to a stunningly white horse, one sees that the horse is a symbol, a representation of the boy's wishes. Throughout their summer experiences, they learn essential values like compassion for the animal and trust amongst themselves. These are a result of the beautiful horse. The story reaches its climax when the horse is returned in better shape and temperament than before, and the boys have a renewed sense of faith in both themselves and their love of the horse.
Created using Powtoon.